Welcome to ITE 1712 Web Designing course. Now we are into the 7th week of our course. So far we built some interesting web pages with images, tables and videos. I think it was really interesting for you to build such web pages. But there was one element missing, that is styling. Up to now, we designed the pages without the styling in mind. But you should know now web development offers you to style your web pages in very interesting ways. In this week, we'll be digging into the fundamental aspects of styling a web page. As we did in our previous lectures, we will be following the same color coding pattern in this week as well. After this week's learning, you will be able to do some interesting things. You will be able to write inline styles with relevant attributes and modify HTML elements with these inline styles and write internal styles and apply styles into web page elements and apply and maintain page style consistency with internal style sheets, create and save external style sheets and apply for a website, and also apply different styles by keeping the same element. We will go through the course contents and see what these really mean. So when it comes to style sheets, cascade style sheets, there are three ways that we can apply these into a web page or a website. The first way is the inline styles. If you remember, there are many HTML tags we can make use of when we develop a web page or a website. For an example, a paragraph, a heading tag, a div element. So there are various elements. These inline styles can be applied to that individual element that we use inside the page. For an example, let's say we want to change the attributes. For an example, the color of the fonts inside the particular div or a particular paragraph. When we want to apply this particular style to this particular element, we use the inline style to define what we need. When we do that, that will not apply to any other element in the web page or the website. But what if we want to apply the same style throughout the page for that particular paragraph? In that case, we use internal style sheets. When we define internal styles, the attributes we define for this div tag or the p tag will apply to all the divs or p tags inside this page. But when we move out of that page, these styles will not affect because these styles will not be in the other page. How about we maintain the consistency throughout the website? If we have multiple web pages in our website, how can we maintain this same consistency across all the pages? That's where we need these external style sheets that we can store them in outside, maybe in a different folder of the website, and refer that style sheet from every page that we have in our website. That way, if for an example, if we define, okay, the font color of this paragraphs should be blue, then all the paragraphs in the website will have the blue color text, because we refer this external style sheet in each of these web pages. Why don't we do a small exercise so that you can really see a general example how we can apply a style. So now we have this example HTML page. Let's open it up. In fact, we can open this file from any text editor that we want. For an example, a Notepad or Sublime, or there are many other editors that we can use. We will get into that later. For now, I'm opening this from the Notepad. So how can we define a style element? This style element should be defined inside this head tag. So within the head tag, we should specify style and define the type attribute as text CSS, and also closing style tag. Right? Now here we can define the element. For an example, paragraph tag, open brackets and close brackets. Within these open and close curly braces, we can define the style that we want for this paragraph. For an example, we can define the color of the paragraph, red. How about font style? Italic. Right? Not only the paragraphs, we can define the style for the website body. Shall we make the background color of the body yellow? And also style our H1 tags, header 1 tags. Let's make them blue color. Okay, now this is a sample way of styling our elements here. You can see here we have the selector, where we select the element to apply these styles. For example, in this case, this body is the selector and this is the style. In the style, this is the property and this what we call the value. So there are property value pairs for each style applied for an HTML tag. In order to apply these styles, in here we have the body tag. So this style will apply to the body. But we do not have any paragraph or header 1 tag to see these styles in action. Let's create a header 1 tag. And also let's put a paragraph. And let's save it and open it up in a browser. As you can see, this header 1 tag is now blue color and our body of the page is yellow, and the paragraph tag is red color, as well as the contents are italic. Okay, now let's go through 3 types of styles to see how we can apply them. The first case is the inline style. For this demonstration, I have created this file with a heading and a content, and let's open it up. In order to apply an inline style, we should create an attribute within the opening tag that we want to modify. For an example, for this H1 tag, I'm applying this style color blue. Right? For this paragraph tag, I'm applying the color red. And let's change the content inside this paragraph to red colored texts. Let's create another paragraph and the closing tag, and put the contents as regular paragraph. Let's see this in action. Right. Now the heading is blue. The first paragraph is red, and the regular paragraph is black. Now, if you can see, this inline style also has this style attribute and an equal character and opening quotes, double quotes, and closing quotes. And within these quotes, the property that we want to change, followed by a colon, and the value we want to apply, followed by the semicolon, should be there. Despite the HTML page that we want to apply, this pattern is common. In the HTML tag, we create this style attribute like this. So this is how we create the inline styles. So now we have created this inline style. Let's move into the internal styles. It's quite simple. To demonstrate the function, I will create another paragraph. And we change this to regular paragraph 1, and the new one is regular paragraph 2. Right? Now we have the header and 3 paragraphs. In order to apply an internal style, we should modify this head tag and create a style tag inside and specify the type as text and CSS. Right. As you can see, this style tag also has an opening and a closing tag. Between these 2 tags, we specify the styles that we want for every HTML element type. For example, paragraphs within the web page. Okay. So for the paragraphs within the web page, I want them to have the color green. Let's save it and see how it looks like. Okay, now we have green color in these 3 paragraphs. I also want this H1 tags to be italic. Font style italic. Right. Now, one important aspect of this internal styles and internal or other external styles is the precedence. Now, we already defined these styles for this particular page. And we can see all the paragraphs are now green. Let's say we want to change the first paragraph to another color, but all other paragraphs should be the same color defined at the top. For that function, we can use the internal styles. Let's make red here. Only the first paragraph has this red color style. Save it. Right. Not only the color, we can change other attributes. For an example, for regular paragraphs, we can specify font weight bold. You can see the bold property is applied to all the paragraphs here. Not only the paragraphs, not only the regular paragraphs, but also the paragraphs with the inline style also got affected. We can actually change this font weight bold nature of the paragraph, not only here, but also or any other paragraph as well. For an example, if we want the last paragraph to have a normal font weight, not the bold one, we can specify here, okay, font weight normal. Let's save it. Right. Now, both these paragraphs have different styles than the styles mentioned, defined at the top of the page. Let's change the text of this paragraph to regular paragraph with normal font weight. Right. Now that's it with the internal paragraphs. As you can see, if we have multiple web pages in a website, unless we specify the same style across all the pages, other web pages will not have these styles applied. How we can accomplish the task of applying these styles to all the pages? One alternative is to copy this style into all the pages. That is an option. But if you think about it, as long as we don't change the style, that would be okay. Let's say we create a website with 100 web pages, right? And we copy this style tag into 100 pages. Fine. It works very well. All the pages have the same style. All the paragraphs in the web page will have color green unless they are overwritten by this inline styles. But let's say then we decide, okay, we need this font weight of this paragraph to normal. We don't want bold paragraphs anymore in our web page or in our website across all the pages. So how can we change that particular property of paragraphs? If we copied this style into 100 pages, then we will have to change 100 pages to change this property. So that is lots of work and lots of unnecessary work. To accomplish this easy modification of styles and also some other benefits, we can define an external style sheet. So I'm going to move this style into an external style sheet. So here I cut the styles and I go into this folder. It is a best practice to create a folder for the CSS file separately. Not only CSS file, there are other files. In future, we will learn about them. For example, images, right? It is very organized when we create a folder to keep the CSS file separately, other images separately, and so on. I'm creating this file called example.css. Right? Let's open it from the notepad and paste the text. So we came with the indents from our previous page. In this page, in this file, also we should maintain the indents like this. So I'm saving this file, but without including that file into our web page, I save it. And let's see what happens. Only the inline styles are now taking in, because in our page, there are no internal styles. So let's delete this section and link that particular style page that we have created into this page. To do that, we should define this link HTML tag. Link, and the href attribute we specify CSS example.css, and we should specify the rel attribute as style sheet. Save it. Voila. Again, the styles are applying to our web page. Let's say we are creating another page. I'm creating a copy of this page and pasting it, and I'm naming this file as example2. Now I'm opening from the notepad. Here also we have the same text, and we'll have different set of elements here in the body. Okay, here also I have another h1 tag. Here the title is other page, and we have a paragraph. Right? And if we save it, and this is the old page. If we open the new page, we can see it also has this styles applied. So as we have discussed before, Let's say we want to change the style of the heading. We don't want italic headers anymore. We just want regular headers. Now it's very simple. We don't have to edit these 2 pages. We don't have to edit this. We only have to edit this example CSS page. Only one page. Okay. We can even delete this style, or we can specify the style that we want. Now, if we go to this first file, now it's regular, and here also it's regular. All right, now you know how to add colors and change the styles of a web page and its elements. So what kind of things available for us to change in our styling? If you're wondering what is this CSS1, in fact, the cascade styling sheets are now evolved into the 3rd generation. In the 1st generation, some of the features, for an example, color and background properties, font properties, for example, font style, font family, these kind of font properties, and text properties, or how to align the text align, these kind of properties, and box properties, padding, margin kind of properties, and also classification properties such as a display, where to display an element, how to position an element. These kind of properties were available. Let's take a look at common CSS properties. Background color. We can change the background color of text, a div element, a paragraph, like that. Color, we already did. Make color of a text element to red, any other color. A font family. I mean, there are different font families available. For example, Arial or sans serif. These kind of, there are font family standard fonts as well as non-standard fonts that you can apply. Font style, we can make them italic, bold, etc. And also margin, we can set the margin of an element. Margin means we keep some space between other element. So we can keep a 5-pixel margin to the left by applying margin left property. How about margin right? And also some things like text align. We can keep, for example, we can keep text center aligned. To recap how we can define an inline style, we can say we should first put a style attribute followed by an equal sign followed by the value of this attribute. The value of the attribute can have multiple styles such as this, and we specify them as pairs, property value pairs. For example, color green, font size 20 pixels, like that. When it comes to internal styles, we first define the selector and then curly brackets and then property and value pairs. Now let's take a look what kind of tools available for the development of our web pages or websites. When we use Adobe Dreamweaver and things like Microsoft Expression Web, they really help us to maintain these style sheets and they will give good support by suggesting the available options and many other ways. Some other tools may be the CSC HTML validator. Now it is called CSS HTML validator, and also Code Lobster, WebStorm, and Liquid XML editor. These kind of tools are very helpful for development of our styles and other elements of our web pages and also websites. So far we have used inline styles, internal styles, and external style sheets. In the internal and external style sheets, we use the HTML element as the selector. For an example, a paragraph or H1 or any other tag. But there are more than one way to select elements. One example would be by selecting the ID attribute. Let's say we have a paragraph with an ID of main. We can catch the element using this particular attribute. And also, there is another way of specifying classes. We can add one or more classes to an HTML tag and then refer these classes in the internal or external styling sheets to address this particular elements. And also we can select the elements with our actions. For an example, hover. So we can specify, okay, when we hover our mouse over an element, apply this style, something like that. And finally, we can also use a descendant selector where we can select the child element of a parent element. For an example, if we take a UL unordered list element, there are multiple list elements inside this unordered list. We can say apply this style to the Li elements within the UL element with this ID or with this class. Let's take a look in practice. All right. Now we have this regular HTML page that we have created here. Let's create an internal style. Right. One way to select the element is by an ID attribute. Let's say first para. We can select the ID of an element by using the hash character, hash and first para, and then we can specify the styles that we want in this particular paragraph with ID attribute. Let's make it font size 25 pixels. Right. Now it's bigger. One other way is by introducing this class attribute. We will introduce one class for the first paragraph. We say first class. And for the second paragraph, we introduce a class called second class. In order to select a class, we should specify the dot character and then the class name. first class. Right. What shall we do with it? Let's make the font bold. Right. The second class, let's make the font blue color. Blue. Now, if we save the file and open this, we can see the second paragraph with the first class. First class makes this paragraph bold, and the second class makes this paragraph blue. One key difference between this ID and the class approaches are that we can have multiple classes in a single HTML tag, but we cannot have multiple IDs in a single HTML tag. Now, for example, we can add the second class also here. Now, this paragraph has two classes, first class and the second class. Now it is blue and bold, and the other paragraph only blue. We will do something interesting now. Let's make the third paragraph with the second class bold only when we move our mouse pointer on top of it. To do that, we should use this Hoover pseudo class. We call them pseudo classes. And when we put our mouse over the second paragraph, the third paragraph with the second class, we will make it a little bit bigger. Font size 50 pixels, and also color red. So this will apply to this paragraphs. Let's open it. When we put our mouse over the third paragraph, we can see how it dynamically changes the styles. Right. Now let's reduce the font size to maybe 25 pixels to make it less dramatic, like this. Right? Because we have the second class in the second paragraph, it also catched the Hoover styling change. Right. Now let's remove the second class from this paragraph. And now the paragraph only applies this. Now this style change only applies to this one. Right? Right. Now let's create an unordered list, as we have discussed before, and create two list items. Now here, we can apply a particular style to the element within an element. To do that, we should first specify, okay, unordered list, space, and then the element within the unordered list, that is Li element. So what do we need to do to this list item? Let's make the font family Courier. And this is a standard font, comes with many operating systems. Yes, the font family has changed to Courier. Let's create another UL. I'm copying this one here and pasting. And I'm changing the items to 3 and 4 here. And let's give a class name or ID name. Second UL. Right? So in order to, let's make the change only to this UL and not the former UL. So how do we do that? Very simple. What we have to do is distinguish the UL with the ID here. Now, as we did here, UL with the ID second UL, LEI. Only the LEIs within this UL with the second UL ID gets this style applied. Let's save it. Oh, see. Now we can see the first UL has the regular text and the other UL has the special text font style that we wanted them to apply. So that's how we can select element in different ways. Now, as we have already discussed, there were multiple generations of CSS evolved from the beginning. The CSS2 was released in 1998, and it included the properties in CSS1 and included new features such as table properties and the ability to change the appearance of a mouse pointer. We could create dynamic mouse pointers. The third level of CSS was very dramatic. It included many things that developers struggled to do without a proper mechanism. And also CSS3 specification structured in modules. These modules can evolve independently. Now, some of the modules have reached the W3C recommendation status, but many are implemented in browsers. One or two examples of CSS3 would be animations. This transformation of the elements, 3D animations, these kind of things were very new, and these are the things people used JavaScript to do earlier. But with this new CSS3 implementation, very wonderful features, wonderful animations are now very easily be implemented without much hassle of third-party libraries. One wonderful thing happened with CSS3 was the introduction of the substring matching attribute selectors. With this feature, we can now select elements of a web page by using an attribute. For an example, let's say we have an attribute with the ID of main header, right? Then we have another element with main paragraph. We can select both of these elements by searching the ID attribute starting with main. That is how we do it in here. Now, the first point here specifies how we can do it. Not only the beginning of a value, but also we can find attributes having values ends with something and also contains something. That is a really good feature of CSS3.